and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
Beth is being hidden by our beautiful mama. Her birthday was yesterday.
Yes.
And so
The 18th,
happy birthday,
Friday.
Mama. Yeah, Friday the 18th.
Yeah.
We record on Saturday, so that's why.
Right.
So that's her picture. We had planned a thing for her birthday, but we're behind.
Mm-hmm.
Making some
Naomi's been busy with her daughter.
and my job and my kitchen. I know, it's been crazy, but yeah, we're going
I
to
did
get
my
to
part. I
that.
found a little.
Yeah, you
right.
found the... We'll tell you more about that as we get our act together. But Beth's going first, so I'm going to move the photo.
Yeah.
And
You can-
we'll be right back.
Yeah.
So we're back, and I understand you're going first, Beth?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, man, do we clash? We're both wearing red. We never send memos about what we're wearing. So if it clashes, it clashes.
Last week I think I talked about various finishes and semi-finishes that I had. I think I talked about them. I don't know. Anyway, I had 6 days on one of my WIP-GO pulls, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But on Monday, the 14th, was her birthday. And so I thought, just fun, in honor of that, I would stitch this Primrose Cottage Stitches Snowman 2023. Work on it. I think I started it, I may have started it in May as part of the Mania stuff that I did. But I had done like the hat and the broom and all that. So I did all this red stuff. There's some cardinals. I didn't do all their, like their eyes and beaks and feet and stuff. But I did the red cardinals and the scarf and the red on his hat. So I did just all red stitching on there, just for fun. And that was basically all I had time for, because I don't think I had all the threads. I think I'd taken the threads out. So I did a little bit of that in honor of Eve's birthday, because she's into snowman, and so I had this little snowman. And then on the 18th, yesterday, Friday, was my mother's birthday, and so I stitched on this pattern Mother by New York Dreamer Isaiah Gladstone. And so I've just been working on the green sprig things. So I have one more leaf thing to do up here, and then,
I was thinking about that you said there's a button or something and it doesn't say where to put it.
Yeah, no, the buttons go here. It doesn't say anything about what kind of buttons, where they're from, how to...
I was thinking if you go to their website, they may say...
I've looked on their website.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. Can't find any information.
They just rely on you to be creative on your own.
I know.
And
There's
come
nothing.
up with your
Well, there's
own
nothing on here
ideas.
about where to put the. And also, one thing I noticed is that right here, there's the initials AP.
What they look like to me is those little wedding flowers that you can get in at Hobby Lobby's wedding thing.
Oh yeah. Those are like little.
They're not really
rosettes
buttons
or
Yeah.
something.
And
ribbon flowers.
Yeah, and this thing up here, there's nothing about what that is. And this AP is like it talks about like back stitching some of the words like hope, joy, love, and tears, and then give and smile. But it doesn't say anything about this AP, and I'm assuming that's the initials of maybe the person who stitched it or
Of their
whatever.
mother.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, their mom.
And so
I would put E.
But there's no like alphabet or anything to they're just it's very
vague.
yes, it's lovely.
It's a blank canvas for your creativity, Beth.
Yeah, something like that.
The most frightening thing you've ever seen. A blank canvas for your creativity.
That's why I don't paint and draw.
I was watching Hands On Design, their floss tube, and she was showing some finished pattern, that she'd put out. And when she finished it, it had a button on it.
Mm-hmm.
She finished it like a pillow or something, and there was a button. And she always tells people where to source all the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And people were asking her, "Where'd you get the button?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, and because we can't find a button like that, where'd you get the button? And she said, she subscribes to Just Another Button Company's button, so often. And so she has a whole bunch of buttons. And so she didn't even think about it. She just looked in her little thing of buttons and found a button she liked. And so she had to contact them and say, can we say this? You know?
Oh, this little guy is stitched 2/2 on, I think it looks like 32 count.
That's cute.
Something or other, linen, coffee tea dyed, blah, 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 linen, I don't know. And this, I like the color of this fabric. It's like an ecru natural color of linen. I have here my little note here, 26 count, but it's more likely 28, but I don't know. But it's very loose weave, like the needle. If I have it at the wrong angle, the needle just goes bloop and falls out of it. And it's very lovely, but it's like stitching on mesh. It's so loose. Anyway, there's that. So I did that Friday, and I guess like into the wee hours this morning. I just did a little bit more this morning. And then one of my WIP-GO pulls was Yay. This was the numbers are 18 and 24, so this is number 24. And my goal for most of these is 6 days. And so, and this is by Southwest Decorative, Rugs of the Southwest series. And this is the one that Eve bought this pattern in Albuquerque, just the pattern itself. And Naomi bought this for me when she went up in the northern part of the state. They went fishing, and she bought this as a kit. So it came with all the threads and the Ada fabric.
I will say that the area where Naomi went to buy it is tribal lands.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
yeah. So I think that's really cool that you bought that there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was in this basically like this gas station close to the river where we were fishing.
So
Kinda cool. It had all kinds of art stuff.
So this is I did this figure last week, and so in the several days that have passed, I did the corn and then this part of this third figure here, and the body of this person goes around and
And you don't have all the white filled in yet.
the background, no, the sort of sand of the sand painting.
That's cool.
No, I'm just doing the figure. So since this.
Are you going to do this hand?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I had thought I would not, because I thought maybe I wouldn't, because it's just so much stitching,
And it looks
makes
like
it
the
full
fabric.
coverage. But yeah, but like the corn silks on this corn and the little fringes on her, they don't stand out very well against the fabric, and so I'm hoping that with the sort of, it's like an ecru color almost, but that the corn will,
Pop out more.
the corn color, yellow color will stand out a little more.
Excuse me.
But anyway, so I did actually about like maybe 7.5 days of this, because I wanted to get sort of to a stopping point, and I sort of did a very epic thread chicken on that to get to the end of that. And then my other WIP-GO pull that I struggle to be enthusiastic about this, but I was watching Lindy Stitches yesterday, and she said something about what she was calling cough syrup finishes. She goes, because people don't really like to take cough syrup. They take it because they have to, because they don't want to be coughing, but it's not a pleasurable occurrence. And so she goes, and that's kind of how some of these finishes are. She goes, they're like, you don't really enjoy them, but you want to finish them because you're committed to finishing them. And I said, yes, that's exactly it. So she had a couple of projects that she called her cough syrup finishes. And that's what this is like. I want to finish it, but it's like I struggle. I really have to force myself to work on it.
What is it about it that you don't?
I don't know.
I just like, yeah.
Because she can't just do one color and the whole
Maybe
thing.
is it
Maybe.
the motive problem?
maybe, and it's just like, yeah, I think like fussing around. Like on this, what I'm gonna do next is are these two larger trees. This one right now, and then this one right after that, and they're a little bit easier because they're not quite so fiddly. And like in this one, these two, for instance, there's no back stitching, and so they're pretty.
You don't like changing colors a lot.
I don't like. Yeah, I guess
feeling like.
And like because I am more of a color completist, I find myself like, well, I have this red out. What else is red? Or I have this color out. And these, because like it might use the same color in several places, but they're not. They're kind of dispersed.
Right.
And so there's this red over here, and it's over here.
I can see that frustrating you.
So yeah. So anyway, this is where I'm starting, and I'm gonna do 6 days on this, and probably not 1 minute more. But so right now I'm right in here is where I'm gonna be working. And when I was looking at this, I'm like, is there enough room? This tree looks awfully big to go in there, but I think it will, just because.
I think this is so cool. I think it is really
it's
beautiful and cool, and all the different trees.
And I'm hoping that it'll fit because I did it.
You did it sideways,
the wrong way.
right?
Yeah.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
I love it, and I guess for me, because I am not like I'm not a good cross stitcher. That I like being able to. Oh, look! I finished that. And I finished that, and I finished this little one, and it makes me feel better.
Well, and the other thing I had to do
These are so cute, these little tiny trees. I think it's beautiful. You're crazy.
I had to mark on my. I have a PDF of this, and so I had to mark on there like which ones I've already done because I was like losing track. And because there's just so many of them, and so anyway, that's where I am with that. And then yesterday, Eve and I went to the attic because she had ordered a pattern.
If there's a Friday when you don't go to the attic.
No, we didn't go last week because I hurt my leg. And I was there this time going.
A lady came up to her when we were waiting to check out. They were running our credit cards. And there was a lot of people there, get to that in stories, I guess. But so while we were standing there waiting, for them to run the credit card, Eve had been leaning on the counter, I guess, when she was checking out, and I don't know what all she did, but this lady came up to us and she said, "Are you all right? We have some chairs over here."
Well, she was another. She was an
employee.
Was she an employee? No, she was a customer. Yeah,
she was another customer,
yeah.
And she'd been behind me in line.
Oh,
and she
heard you whining.
No, I was like waiting, and I was like, I'm glad I'm next because I said I hurt my leg last week and I'm not really wanting to stand on it. But yeah.
And she said, "Did you fall?" And you're like, "No."
But so while I was there, and I'm a little bit wary of buying patterns now because I bought that.
Already have.
Yes, because I've got these. Because because a lot of times designers.
That should be a clue, Beth. Maybe it's time to stop.
They have, as a matter of fact, I'm intending to buy another set. A series, Black Cat Season by Lindy Stitches. Mm-mm. And if I bought all the things that came with it that you could get that are available, it would cost me a fortune.
Don't say it.
But right now there's 6 patterns in this series, and so I'm planning on going and looking at her website and see if I can afford them because I think I want them. But this, so I bought 2 patterns and most of the threads, all but like 2 colors, and I think I might have them, the two colors that are called for. So this one is Silver Creek Samplers.
That's so cute.
And it has there's what is it called? Santa's Magic Key.
What does it say?
And Magic Key Ornament. So the big ornament thing, or big thing says, "We live in a house that has no chimney, so Santa will come with his magic key." And then the other one is Santa and a key. It's really cute. And
I could see the kids really liking that.
Yeah. So there's
that idea.
That's why I bought the house I have, because it has a chimney. For Santa.
And this one I've been looking at. Several people have
gorgeous.
ordered. But this is by the Art to Housewife, Byron Blackbird. This is a big bird.
That's so beautiful.
Lovely. Yeah.
Lots of black.
Yes.
It's your black snowman. Your version of your snowman.
Yes.
How big is it? It's so pretty.
120 by 75. So it's not huge. And this one, the bigger area is 93 by 89, and the little Santa ornament is 48 by 48. And so I got a bunch of threads.
Oh, it has a little year, 2011 here.
Yeah. So this I got two skeins of this blackbird color because the pattern says you'll need 1 or 2 skeins of that.
That's so cute.
And I think Schneckly is the other color. Yeah, and they didn't have that, but I think I might have that. And then and I think the rest. Oh, and then yeah, there's some DMC flosses, which I'm sure I have. And then this one, there are. I didn't even look at this one. Oh, I looked at just this list, and I didn't look at the other list. So I think that might be the only color I don't have. And then Dried Time, which they were out of, I guess. I couldn't find. But pomegranate, oatmeal, I just love this pomegranate. This color is really nice. And all these others, they're all Gentle Arts colors that were called for the Silver Creek Samplers design. So I got them all except for, I think Dried Time they were out of, and I didn't see this Apricot Blush, and Onyx is on here that I already have. So yeah, so I spent more money than I planned to, because I had planned to spend any money there. But yeah, so that's me.
That's you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going next, and it's good timing because I have to get set up in the next portion of this sweater, and I was like, I don't want to do it before I talk. So, ta-da! First of all, here's a picture from this great little coffee shop I got to go to of the finished sleeves and the finished body of the sweater, of Jordan's sweater, and then the photo of it right after I joined it all together. And now this is where I am at. Ta-da! And I have knit after the joining, so you can see here's where the sleeve.
The joining sounds like some kind of
So some horror movie.
yeah.
So I knit.
Joining.
I knit basically 1.5 inches of straight knitting after I joined the sleeves. These stitches here on this contrasting yarn. This is the underarm of the body, and this is the underarm portion of the sleeve. When I'm done, I'm going to Kitchener stitch these together, which is a great thing. And I apologize, my arm, I don't know why, right here hurts when I lift things up. So here's the sleeves all done. I think I was almost done with them both last week. So I finished, and I was able to join. So now what I'm doing is this little, let me see, this little orange marker here marks the front of the sweater. And so I put it, here's a picture of it on the Hanneken. I put it on there and pinned it in the basic area where I thought it went, measuring the underarm here and pinning it up. And because I needed to ask Jordan if this is the level at which she would like the bottom of the U of the, because she wants a U neck that's kind of deeper than the little crew neck that I did for Hannah. And so she was like, maybe a little higher, but also once you start it, you put another inch of ribbing on top. So I demonstrated that for her with this photo. And just to show her that it'll actually be a little bit higher. So it winds up, it's starting basically before the ribbing, it's going to be right about here, which I think with an inch ribbing would be a good U-neck length, I think. So hopefully, I don't know, I've never made a U-neck before, and it's for someone I can't try this on.
A U-neck, not a eunuch.
Never made one of those either. But, so what I have to do right now is on the front, I'm going to take this center, a certain amount mathematically of these center stitches and put them on a holder. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to knit to one side and then turn around, and now I'm going to start knitting back and forth this way instead of knitting in the round. So I needed to know, I put it on the Hannekin because I needed to know if this is right where I want to stop start the U-neck, and then add, of course, an inch of ribbing, or an inch and a half, or whatever I feel like. So, so that's where I am. So I'm on the home stretch. I've made myself a little chart. I don't know if you can see. This is what they give you in the book, just to get you started on the neck decreases. And I went ahead and wrote all of them out, including on the back, so I can keep track exactly of my decreases, so I don't lose track. So I don't know how many rows that is, but I'm on my way to the home stretch on this sweater, and I'm so excited about it. The other things I have here in front of me, it's actually three. I don't know if you can see all three. This is, I forgot to talk about this last week. When I was in Taos, I went to Mooncat Fiber. Here's the card. It's a little kitty. So cute. Mooncat Fiber, and I wanted to buy everything, but I didn't buy everything, and I only bought three 2-ounce balls of 100% alpaca from New Mexico. And I bought this one, and I was in a hurry because you know who was outside waiting on me. And this one.
That's why the attic has chairs.
Well, he was sitting down, but he was outside. And this one. So I figured, since I've been having so much fun spinning, I thought I would spin these guys up for, I don't know what, a hat maybe, for myself. I always say that. Okay, you remember the yarn that Hannah stole? Mm-hmm. I don't have a photo. Maybe I can get her to send me a photo before tonight. If I get a photo, I'll put it right here.
Didn't you already have a photo because we were talking about it?
Well, the yarn. But Hannah stole it. And what she did was, she didn't steal it, I gave it to her. She started knitting basically what, remember I was saying, like, she wanted to do a sleeve, and we were talking about the sleeves were like, it's just tight here, and then it just goes around your shoulders, and then is a sleeve like this. So she was knitting probably a width about this big, and actually got finished with it, and used all my yarn, and it's striped so beautifully. I'm going to ask her to send a photo so we can put it here. It's striped so beautifully. And I was so proud of that yarn because it was multicolor, you know, and the way I plied it, I tried to pay special attention to keeping the color blocks, you know, in certain lengths. And so when she knit it, and fortunately she knit it short length this way, so the stripes go this way, up. And I think if she'd knit it straight across, like from wrist to wrist, it wouldn't have striped so nicely. But because it was short lengths across this way, the stripes are just, it's perfect. So then we went to Tempe Yarn and Fiber, and she got a coordinating manufactured yarn to be the cuffs. And this morning, or Lois last night, she tried to crochet onto it, and she didn't like the way it looked. So she went ahead and picked up stitches and is just knitting a cuff. And I told her if she increased, she could make it flare a little. So it's going to be stripey, 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 and then this dark sort of tealish green on the ends. I think it's going to look gorgeous. And she already tried it on because she had the sleeves sewn up already. And so she's adding those sleeves on today. She is a fast and obsessive knitter. Like, she was like, I have to get this done. I have to get it done. I'm like, I just let my knits languish like everyone else. So I will try to put.
She only does one project at a
yes.
time, right?
Well,
She
yeah,
doesn't have.
Yeah.
She doesn't have.
She doesn't have
the stashes.
Stash. Yeah. So, well, actually, she has 2 projects going. The other thing, she saw online a pattern of someone doing filet crochet. You know that? How filet crochet is when you do like a double. It's like a double crochet, and you do it in such a way where you make like little windows, or you fill those windows with 3 crochets or whatever. So then it's like a grid, and you can make designs within that grid, kind of like cross stitch in a way. And so she saw someone with a little top. It was like it's a holey top because it had, it was like a mesh. But then along the bottom was like paper dolls holding hands like that. Really cute, made in the filet crochet. And she's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Here," and I threw her a book. And I said, "That's thread crochet. It's going to be a little needle and it might hurt your hands." And so she got the pattern, and it actually called for a size 3 thread, which is pretty thick. And she went to Joann's, or did it call for a size 5? And all she could find was a 3, I think, something like that. She's the wrong size thread, but it works. And she went gangbusters on that one day. So I think she's already got like most of the front half. Yeah. And she says she's supposed to do the same thing on the back half. She goes, "I don't know if I'm going to." I was like, "You could just make a mesh. Like it could just be just the." Yeah. I said, "Or you could write your name, or you could." She's like, "No." I'm like, "It's a joke, Hannah. It's a joke. I'm telling you, saying a joke. Of course." I said, "But that's what people use filet crochet for. They would make a little banner for their house that said their last name, or home or something like that." So, so I was just teasing her. Like, "Yeah, you could make a whole new design or write your name." So she did have those 2 projects going because she got sick of one and wanted to work on the other. But yeah, so she's going gangbusters over there doing that. And I was like, "But I loved that yarn." But she used it well, so I don't have to get mad. And then, Eve, your birthday came in. Oh. So for her birthday, I ordered her a design she already had. Yes, I didn't know. But then I ordered her another one that she didn't have.
I'm embarrassed to say that I bought the threads for it, but I never started it.
So here's 2 patterns that I bought Eve for her birthday. One is Flamingo Bells, and the other is Falamingo. Falamingo. Because they're cute. They're Christmassy flamingos.
I think I might have one of those. I'm not positive.
Yeah, so she might have one, but I don't think she has the other. I don't think she has both.
Yeah, I think the Falamingo
is the one she has.
Is I think the one she has. It's familiar.
So happy birthday, Eve. They finally came in.
Thank you.
Go. We had to stop because the dog decided to bark to tell us that she needed to go out instead of just going out. I should leave it in one day, but my favorite thing about when the dog barks is that I get to edit out Eve jumping 10 feet every time she barks. So anyway, that is me. That's all I have to talk about, was this sweater. Hopefully by next week it might be done, or close to. So, that's me. Eve, you're up.
Okay. So, I'm working on Silent Night by Stitching with the Housewives. And I was saying, one of the things about her patterns is that she uses, in general, not completely, but in general, the same colors on her patterns. So if you have the colors for one pattern, you have them for the next one. She'll add some or change some, switch them around, but for the most part, they're basically the same colors. And so when I opened this to start stitching it, none of the threads were in there. And I went to another one of hers. Oh, here they are. I am using some of the called for colors here. But many of them I switched out for Weeks Dye Works. She calls for 12 grain, 3 skeins, of 12 grain for the white. to me, 12 grain isn't white. And I like this icicle. I guess I can take a picture of it. It's Weeks Dye Works icicle. And it's got
a little bit of blue in it.
It's got a blue tinge to it. And I think I mentioned before that that to me, snow has blue in it. Not all whites, but snow does.
I think she had mentioned it at some point that she likes
She likes
12
the less
grain and 380,
the less white.
6865. Yeah, because they're, rather than like something like B5200.
So I showed it last week where I was, and I'm working on this right now. And I started by putting in these little, what are those, bushes. And I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit because I finished the green part of the bushes and moved to do the red on that side. Because I had to cut the thread from going to one to the other side. Well, I didn't have to, but I was going to. And then as I'm putting in the red, I'm like, that's only one side of the X. So I cut the thread, and I'm going to have to go back and
put one little half. Oh
no. I'm for the green in this one, instead of steamed broccoli, I'm using scuppernong. But anyway, I'm going to be working on the bushes and the two trees on either side. I thought at first that I would just go ahead and do Silent Night, and I was like, no, I want to finish this and go that way. So I'm just going to put in the trees and everything. And the trees have snow, which means I'm going to have to put on, I'm going to have to use more of that sparkly stuff. And when I showed it to you last week, I didn't have that sparkly stuff with me. See, now I want to start the flamingos. Anyway, I didn't have the sparkly stuff with me, but I grabbed it out of that other bag.
Oh, that's what it is.
This is Krynic, but it's not as fat, and that's what I like about it. It's oops, I'm trying to figure out which one it is.
What the heck did I do?
I use this for some of the blues in sometimes when I do it. Krynic Metallics 3214. I don't know, very fine braid. And this one does not annoy me as much as most of the Krynic does. I don't mind stitching with Krynic because it's fat and all that. That's not what bothers me. What bothers me is that if you do a cross with it instead of just like one side or something, if it's sitting next to a regular stitch, it's like this and that other stitch is like this. It's kind of annoying. But these are two different colors from a product called Accentuate, which I got at the attic. I said, do you have something besides Krynic that's shiny? And they showed me these, and I have two different colors of this. One's whiter than the other one, and I really like these because they're thin, and even though they fray like the devil, so does Krynic, right? They're easier for me to use, and I think they're sparkly enough, so that's what I'm using.
I don't know why, it just made me laugh to think of the devil fraying.
But he does
kind of made me laugh.
He does fray.
He does evil things, and fraying is evil. We'll establish that.
So, the other stuff that I've been working on, I'm going to talk about my temperature chart here, which the paper is still under the couch somewhere, so we're going to put it here. And it's by Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts, which
You'll
is
find
not
it at Christmas when you move everything to get the tree in.
No, I don't move the chair. I don't move the couch. I'm going to have to get a broom and go under, and that means I have to move that heavy. The coffee table is heavier than the couch. So And right now, with my knee feeling like it does, there is absolutely no way I'm moving anything. So we've had a very strange weather week.
It's only like 90 something today.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So there were cooler days and warmer days, and it even got up to 111, 115. For it to be this dark green color, it had to be over 115. Dark green? That's red. So this week I have 4 different colors of red, which is weird, right? But it's kind of normal for August that it be kind of like this. And it really makes me sad that I can't get in the pool right now because I'm afraid I won't be able to get out. And I'm like, okay, and now 90, 96?
It's too
what
cold
the
to
heck
swim.
is going on?
It's
It's too cold to
now.
swim.
At least according to me.
Well, actually, we could go and use the HOA pool, which is heated
Oh, that's nice.
and has a jacuzzi.
Ooh.
And I might actually be able to get in and out because the steps are different. Anyway, so I wanted to show that first because we had not a storm yesterday. It was mostly just wind, but some of the parts of the city paid their dues, and so they got rain because there was a flash flood warning.
I saw that Sky Harbor got rain.
Yeah.
The airport. I guess we got a little on Friday morning.
We had a sprinkler too.
Yeah, when we went to the attic, you could actually like, oh look, there's a teeny tiny pinprick of a raindrop.
Yeah.
And then there were a few sprinkles on the windshield when we were driving around.
And then my cross-stitch camp piece, I have come to the conclusion that there is absolutely no way I will be finishing this by the end of the month. However, I will keep plugging away. Because here's the first part of it.
That's cool.
I've done this like 10 times. If I did it right the first time, it would be done. Because I've done
Isn't
at
that
least
true with everything in life?
Yes. And it's not because I sorry, I'm looking at this going, what the heck is that? That's just shadowing, I guess. It's not that I don't try, but the colors are so close, and so I have trouble keeping track of where I am. And so I went to put the feet. The feet start right here, and they're not supposed to touch this dude. The tail, they're not supposed to touch, and I'm like, those feet aren't going to fit there. What is going on? And I figured out what was wrong, but because it wasn't fitting, I had to take it out and fix it. But I didn't have to take it all out. I just crocheted over some of it. I had to take out the part that,
You mean cross-stitched?
Yes.
Like now you're crocheting? What are you doing?
I was thinking about crocheting the tops for the top for that berry, that I started.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep plugging away at it and then taking it out and putting some more in and taking that out. But I didn't cross stitch as much this week. I spent a lot of time waiting different places. but I'll just keep trying, and if I don't finish, it's not the end of the world, but I'll at least be closer to being able to make a phoenix biscornu.
Mm-hmm.
I love the phoenix in the Harry Potter things.
I know, fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then for WIP-GO, this is going to look very much like it did last week, especially when I'm showing it to you like this, because the white does not show up on this color.
Oh, the flowers.
Yeah, and so I was doing this white.
Oh, I see.
Here.
Yeah.
And this is a different color that you almost can't tell the difference, right?
Yeah.
See. I made it show up last time by doing a back stitch around the white so you could see the edge of it. And there's these little streaks to make it look like glass.
Yeah.
So those I put on. They barely show up, but I put them on. But in the pattern, there's also little spots of white, just to kind of make it look like it's snowing inside there, I guess. I'm not putting those. You won't be able to see them. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. But I think I made some pretty decent progress during these 10 days. I only worked on it, I think, 2 more days since the last time I showed it to you. So, did I show you the picture? So, the part that I'm working on right now is this flower right here. And it looks all dark in the picture. It's not. Not yet, anyway. Not what I've stitched so far. I can't wait to start stitching those red berries. I'm very close to being there. But I'm going to wait because it's going on next year's WIP-GO. Yeah, well, I have a giant stack of patterns here, and it's only getting worse. Because apparently now I have flamingos to do, and something else that I'll talk about in a second. Now, on my birthday, I started this, which is Heaven Earth. I can never remember the name. I just want to say Snowman. Mini Snowman Snuggles.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I started it, and I don't want to say I got pretty far, but I got close to finishing one square. Okay. And then I don't remember what sparked that in my mind, but I was sitting stitching something else, or I don't know what, and I just went, that's going the wrong way. And you know how Beth did that, instead of this way, and I was like, it's going the wrong way.
You put your X's the wrong way?
No.
Oh.
The fabric.
So the fabric is, so much wide by so much high, right? And instead of that, I turned it, and so it was longer than it was deep. And it might have fit anyway because it had really big margins. But
you don't want to risk that.
Yeah, not with so much, no. Yeah. Especially since the cute part is toward the bottom. So I had to take it all out. And then I got one color further than I had before. So here's the first little square. And I'm not putting any pressure on myself to try to finish it any particular time. But I was like, these colors are so close in color. If I park it so that I can wait on that thread to go to a different thing, because I don't want to start and stop every time. I don't want to do that. There's one color that I might do that on, because I think in this first thing there's 3, and there isn't any in the next one, and there's 1 in the next one, Yeah. So, but I haven't decided yet, so it's not cut yet. But what I did was, and to be honest, this is pieces of, I'm just going to show you this way. I'm not going to take a picture of it. I don't know if you can see all of these threads.
Yeah.
So they have, I put little pieces of straw wrapper. And, well, because
work with what you have.
Well, it's easily cut, and it's white, so I can write on it. And I put the symbol.
The number. Oh, the symbol.
The symbol.
Nice.
Then I started putting the symbol and the number, right? So that when I look at that, I go, what thread is that? Oh, okay. So that I'm not trying to figure out by where the stitch is, because when you see the picture of this, you're going to see that, yeah, so far I've stitched 5 different threads, and you can tell maybe 2. So,
Right.
but it makes a nice blending, you know, so it's really nice. And
Does it have you do like one of this color and one of that color?
yeah,
In the same stitch?
yeah. So, because this is a very small area, and I have 5 different colors in it, and I have 3 more to go, 4 more to go. I don't know.
Well, you know, you turned your fabric the wrong way. I almost put the neck in the back of the sweater. I mean, right now they both look the same, but I was like, what? Where am I? Oh, I put that on the back and not on the front.
So we did go to the attic because I ordered, as you recall, I did lemon cat, but I don't have any other lemony things. And I thought, that lemon cat is lonely. So I chose a lemon pattern that I liked, and they didn't have it at the attic, so I ordered it, fresh lemonade, and it came in. They called me, I think, Thursday of last week, so it came in, but I knew there's no way.
Primrose.
Cottage stitches.
It even-
that's that same
How
one that.
cute.
Yeah, it even has the pattern for stitching, the 25 cents.
How cute! That's
So
so cute.
I
Oh,
really
it's on,
like
it's
it.
on a separate tag
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a little
That's
tag. Isn't
cute.
that cute?
I
Yeah,
hadn't really looked at the.
and I like the little pillow that they made with it. I probably won't finish it the same way, but you know, I just like. I thought it was very cute. And then, so I mentioned that I was watching Hands-On Design Floss Tube, and she was showing a berry series that she's doing that I hadn't seen before because I didn't watch her last Floss Tube. I don't watch it all the time. And it was for a blueberry berry, which I thought, oh, how cute. She said, yeah, it'll go with the strawberry, and there's going to be other fruits, because it is the berry basket series. And I thought, those are cute. I might get the blueberry one and stitch that and see if I like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had a Visa gift card that I got for my birthday. And I said, well, I'll spend it at the attic because I have to go pick up my pattern. I found the berry one, the strawberry one. And I said, I really like the strawberry one. And she has tutorials on how to do that top part,
Oh, that's really cool.
and I thought, a little bowl of those, different fruits. I think.
So this is not Erica Michaels. This is different.
No, it's hands-on design,
Nice.
and it's a different shape. But she
Yeah.
has the template for it.
That's cute.
She stitched it on 32 count. I have plenty of 32 count, so
Neat.
That's really cute.
yeah. So I bought these 2 things, and then it wasn't quite $25. And when you have a gift card like that, and you don't know exactly how much money is left on it, it's
never
very
use it.
hard to spend the rest of it.
Right.
Because they're like, well, I can't do that because you can't tell me how much, and blah, blah,
Right.
blah, and you have to call them and get the total or keep track. I don't like to do it. So I was looking around.
doing it.
I was looking around for
Another way to spend money. some more things to buy.
I was looking around to see if there was a pattern that would approximate the price of the rest of the money I wanted to spend. And I couldn't find any, and my feet hurt, and I wanted to leave. So I went up to the cash register, and I saw this.
Ooh.
And I said, my snowman needs that. Because I have it in a bag that is too small, and if I get the Q-snap that I'm thinking I might get, or that other square thing, it won't fit in there. And the this, I have to crunch it up too small. This is the length, and I'm like, it'll fit much better in there. I won't have to squish it so much.
Did you start on the top left or something?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
It's that big? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. Oh, no.
Did you just rip a thread?
No, I almost pulled it out of where I have it stashed. So it's this big. So I said, I need a little bigger, and I was planning to make one for myself. I haven't taken my sewing machine back out because I just,
As Mom used to say, because and that's all.
Well, my leg hurts, and I'm just like, the thought of sitting for any length of time pushing on a pedal. Now my sewing machine has one of those buttons that you push the button and it'll sew for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, I don't trust
with
that.
my foot, I have the ability to just really, slow and all, and I don't have to think about it because I just automatically do it, and so yeah, I'm just like, so it's going to be happier in this bag.
It's nice.
And so it has
And it's very
80,
snowman colored.
87 threads.
Oh no.
So those will be happier in here too. So yeah, so I was like, okay, it was more than what
It's
the
your
rest of
color.
it would be, but it's perfect. Yeah, so that is me. But the attic was standing room only when we got in there.
Yeah.
Was it
Because
a sale?
we happened to get there on the weekend of summer school, and everybody was there shopping from,
What's that?
and so
What's summer school?
it's a retreat that the attic hosts.
That's fun.
And it's mostly at a hotel, I think, but they were at the shop.
Nice.
And so we saw Sherry from Colorado Stitchers. We didn't talk to anybody because they were immersed in conversation
Yeah,
with other
there's-
people, and
So you saw famous people there?
Yes.
That's
and
fun.
we saw people from.
Flosstubers
I saw Brenda from. Brenda, is that her name?
and the Cheryl Stitcher.
Yeah, but just Brenda. I didn't see the
And
other.
I think the guys from Garon were there, and Gary and Ron.
I saw some men.
Yeah, I think that's who they were, and because I'm not real familiar with them, but I think that was who that was. And then I can't think of her real name, but her FlossTube channel is the Contented Stitcher.
And you couldn't go anywhere in there. Anywhere you wanted to go, you had to ask 5 people to move.
Yeah.
And
But that's fun though.
Yeah.
oh
it was fun.
yeah, it was great because there were so many people and so excited, and they had gotten plenty of fabrics in, and I was looking at those fabrics. And I'm like, they're so pretty, but I can't spend that much on fabric. I went over to the other side where the fabric that I normally get is, and I was like, there's plenty here that I would like, but no, I'm going to stick to, because I wanted to buy the pattern that I ordered. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm not buying that much over, So,
Yeah.
so I had a lot of fun, even though I was in a lot of pain, because of the, I stood in line forever. And they had tickets. I mean, you had to get
wow.
a ticket for your spot.
That's fun.
Yeah. So
What was nice is I had when I was getting ready to check out, I went to the little number thingy and I plucked my number off and it said 78, and she had just finished waiting on I think she had just called 71. And she was waiting, and 71 wasn't showing up. And then like she was just about to go to 72, and the lady that had 71 like came running up. It's me, I'm 71. And so she was checking her out, and then there was another lady that she said, "Oh, does anybody want my number, because I was about to check out, but I'm not ready yet." So, so she and I traded numbers. And I think she was 74 and I was 78. So it was like, yeah. So
and they were so understanding, because I had turned the card on, and done all that, and I put it back in my purse, and I thought I knew where I put it, and I went to get it, and I could not find it, and I'm like, I was almost just going to use my debit card, because they had to take two people, because I'm looking for it, because their card machine is not at their cash register. It's a little bit away, and so one person was doing the cash register and another person was running the cards, and she was so understanding. She's like, "I'm just going to put these other people through." And I was like, "Sorry." I finally found it. I was like, so I had a good time there.
Yeah,
that sounds like fun.
Okay.
Now, on my birthday, I got a free Dutch from Dutch.
Dutch Brothers.
Yeah, Dutch Brothers.
I don't know if they're everywhere.
It's like Starbucks, but cheaper and tastier. And they have more
variety.
And they have more sugar-free drinks.
Yeah.
And anyway, and there's one like across the street. So
Where I was looking at it, what's the line like over there?
yeah, we drive by and we're like, what's the line look like? There's nobody. So so I had a free Dutch, and because the line was very short, we had to wait for the drinks to be made. So right beside that is a car wash.
A do-it-yourself
car wash. And Beth and I are watching, and I'm like, is that guy trying to go into the car wash? And it was this huge RV.
Trailer camper.
Yeah, and it was like maybe 3 feet above the top of the car wash thing, and he keeps backing up and then going forward and backing up, and we're like, he can't go to the vacuums because it's too tall for that too, and we're watching going, oh no, what is he doing?
Like the very tail end, like maybe 3 feet of this trailer would fit in the because in the car wash because it had a roof over it, and so he kept backing up. And I'm like, is he gonna try to squeeze that? Because right after the top of it, there was like, I don't know, their air conditioner units or whatever on the top of the RV. There's this, and then it sloped up, and there's another one, and there's sloped up, and there's another one. I'm like, it's not gonna fit. What is he doing?
And I'm like, what are you doing? And why would he go in there anyway? To turn around? I have no idea. That a vehicle that big in that parking lot, it is a tight parking lot.
Yeah, because he had like a big, I don't know, it was a truck or something towing this big thing, So I don't know what he was doing.
It was like gonna try to back it up.
I was waiting for the wreckage,
Yeah, we were going.
Did he finally give up and leave? Or?
No, he was still there trying when we left. And when we went back yesterday,
looking to see if there was any damage.
We're like, is it still one piece?
I guess it's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So you guys, I went to see on Friday was my last work from home. Friday afternoon off. Fun Friday of the summer, as I call it. Fun Friday. It was my last one, and I told Eli we were going to go to Costco, and we were going to do this stuff, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go to the movies. It's my last Friday off, Friday afternoon off. Let's just go. And he's like, okay, what's showing? We're like, I don't know. And we found that movie, Jules, and I really liked it. But, so we go, and we drive all the way out, because it's only showing a couple places. drive all the way out to this far theater, and we get there, and neither one of us had somehow, because I'd worked from home that morning and I'd been slammed busy, and I was like, we didn't eat all day, so I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna get some lunch or something. So I was gonna do, they usually have this hummus plate, and for some reason they didn't have it either. I'm like, this is baloney, but okay.
We saw it at our.
They always have it on the menu.
No, we saw Jules at Chandler.
No, I know, but it's only 11 o'clock at Chandler, and this was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we had to go get some groceries really quick, and then so the only time it was showing that we could catch it was at 4:20. So we just flew out there. It was spur of the moment thing. Anyway, so I went to get a hot dog, and I decided to get a hot dog. So I'm standing at the little thing where you wait for your food, right? I have my popcorn and my stuff, and you're waiting. And so I can see back into the kitchen. And I hate to be like this, but I had to be like this. So I see a girl working on my hot dog. And she puts it, they have the stack of the foil papers, right? They wrap it up. So there's a stack of foil papers, and she puts my hot dog there. And I hear something beeping. So she leaves my hot dog there, and she walks away. And so I'm a little bit like, oh, my hot dog's sitting out, getting cold. Why couldn't you just wrap it up and then go answer the beeping? But okay, whatever. So then I'm watching, and then I see her over to the side, and she's doing all kinds of things in gloves. She's not just touching food. She's like touching the machinery and doing all this stuff. She walks back to my hot dog that's now been sitting out for a good minute or more, and puts her gloved hand that now has touched everything in the kitchen on my hot dog and wraps it up and comes out and says, here's your hot dog. And I'm like,
that's not my hot dog.
She gives it to me, and I'm sitting there going, do I be like this or do I not be like this? But I need to be like this. Because also, she hands me my hot dog, and she takes the paper, and she touch the monitors. Gloved hands, touch the monitor that's up there. And then I see her, as she's walking away, she grabs the countertop, gloved hands. Then she goes back, and beep, 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 and she gets someone's pretzels, and she's with her gloved hands, and then these people get their pretzels.
It's like, that's what gets people in the newspaper for violations.
And then Eli's waiting for his he got chicken tenders or something. And I'm standing there going, I can't. Because I'm watching her all over the kitchen with the same exact pair of gloves. So there was another kid up there, and I said, and I'm like, as it's coming out of my mouth, I'm like, I'm going to be like this. I was like, is your manager here? Can I speak to your manager? So the manager comes up, and I'm like, that young lady back there has not changed her gloves since I've been watching her. She touched my hot dog and all the kitchen equipment. She's gone to several stations. She served their food, and then as we were talking, she's there grabbing Eli's and I said, and she's touched this monitor up here, his chicken tenders, with her hands. I'm like, don't you have a tong or something? And his french fries into the box, and I'm like,
you're supposed to change your gloves so often. It's unbelievable.
Food, and he's like, I will talk to her. I'm so sorry. Would you like me to make your hot dog again? And what's your seat number? So I told him.
Did you have him make Eli's chicken tenders again?
So she came out so he left. And then she comes out, I have these chicken tenders. And she hands them to Eli, and I looked at him. I said, do you want those? And he goes, I don't care. I'm like, okay. It's your microbes. But, so then, because she was coming. That's right, she was coming. And so she handed it, and I said, do you want those? And he goes, I don't really care. It's fine. But I looked at her, and I said, you need to change your gloves in between orders when you're touching everyone's food. You didn't change your gloves this whole time, and you touched my hot dog and now my son's food. And she goes, do you want me to make your hot dog again? I said, your manager's doing it. And she just kind of blanched. And I'm sorry to be like that, but you need a lesson. Like, this is not.
When I was
It's
working
like the girl
at
in
the
the ice,
schools,
her thumb in the ice cream or whatever. You know?
When I was working at the schools,
Because
you have to pass a test in order to work with food.
But I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Like, you leave the station and you go touch. You have to take off your gloves, right?
Once she touched your hot dog, she should have finished that before touching anything else. But if she didn't, she had to take off her gloves and go do whatever she was doing, and then put on new gloves to do your hot dog, and then take the gloves off and come and work with the register
computer, right?
And then put on new gloves to
touch someone else's food.
And I'm like, but the thing is that at the you're supposed to take your gloves off if they touch anything. Mm-hmm. And when I was working at the school, one of my coworkers, she had her gloves on because we were serving the food. It was lunchtime, and we were in between one grade and another grade, and she had her gloves on, and she got a towel and was wiping down her area, and I said, "You have to change your gloves." She goes, "It's a sanitized towel. It doesn't matter." But the manager, the manager didn't say anything. Well, it was the counter where we passed the food. But I'm like, yeah, but you touched a towel that is just sitting there, and she just keeps it there so she can constantly wipe. And I'm like,
well, and the stuff on the counter is obviously not clean because you're having to wipe it up,
right?
So that you're wiping the germs on the towel, and
she didn't want to change her gloves, and I was like. I wasn't her boss. I couldn't make her.
It's not like you have to pay for the gloves, you know.
Well, no, but
like out of your pocket.
It's very annoying to take them off and on.
Yeah, I know, but but it didn't cost you anything.
But it's very annoying, but it's necessary.
So I hated to be like that.
But yeah, well, I was like that at Wendy's too. Remember, I told you that woman with the ice.
Well,
it's like going to the doctor. If the doctor's taking your temperature or doing this and that and the other, you don't want them to use the same gloves that they use on somebody else.
We were at the dentist with my son, and the dentist had his gloves on because he was about to work in my son's mouth. But then he had a question, so he was looking at the computer, and he grabbed a Kleenex, I think it was, put it over the mouse, and then used the mouse. And then, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay. Yeah, you get it. You get it. But I was like, I hate. But so the manager then brought my hot dog out, and I told Mark later, I was like, they probably all spit on it before they brought it to me. But, I guess I deserve it. But maybe someone else will have cleaner food.
Well, that girl tried to tell me she was the manager, the one with the ice.
Yeah.
I was like. I'm sorry. You can't take a towel, wiping down ice and dumping dirty ice back in the ice, and then give me that for my dad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another story. My beautiful yarn and my beautiful daughter. So the beautiful yarn that I made. The whole time Hannah was home, I kept saying, you need to not leave your door open. You need to put your knitting in a bag. You need to put your knitting in a bag. Don't leave it out. Hobbs is going to eat that. Don't leave it out. All week long, I was like, honey, you need to put that in a bag. Don't leave. It's there on the floor. Hobbs is going to get it. I know, Mom. I know. So guess what happened? Last night she's there after dinner. Mark and the two kids decide to do like a Battlefront thing on the Xbox in the living room, so they are doing that. And I'm very happily in my kitchen with my dishwasher that leaks. Did we say that last week? My dishwasher leaks.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I have to figure that out. But anyway, so I was hand washing dishes. I was very happy. And they were playing, and I'm standing there, and I'm happy, and I'm washing dishes, and everything's great. They finish playing, and Hannah walks toward me because I'm standing at the sink, so I can't see anything else that's happening on the floor. And Hannah walks towards me, and she goes, "Oh no!" No, she had gone to brush her teeth because she's getting ready for bed, and all of a sudden she's like, "Oh no! Oh no!" And she comes out. Her knitting is in the room. The yarn, okay, and the yarn goes from her room down the hall all the way into my room. There's also a bitten piece in her room, like about this long. And so we follow the trail, and her knitting was bit off too. And then we follow the trail, the rest of the yarn, into my room, and it is. I should have taken a picture of it, but I was so upset. And she's like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "I told you all week long, you don't believe me." But it was just like this massive spaghetti of my beautiful hand spun yarn. And I'm sitting on her bed, untangling it for, I was probably there 2 hour and a half. I don't know. Just like,
And why wasn't she untangling it?
Because I could do it right. And she helped, and she was trying to knit up what she had left on her. And I'm just like, "I told you. I know. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry." I know, but you should believe me. I live with this child, this cat child.
So when
and then he'd come back, "Hi, Mom," like.
So we had a dog named Joy and a cat named Tomaluk, who were very, very good friends. And I come home one day, and there is toilet paper all over the house. At my parents' house. And they had, at my parents' house, there was a center thing that had the utility room, and everything else went around it. And the toilet paper was everywhere. A whole roll of toilet paper. It must have been a brand new roll. And the cat, I don't remember exactly where he was. And the dog, was looking like it was his fault. Because I knew that they did it together. Yeah. Because the dog didn't go in the bathroom and get the toilet paper. The cat did. And then saw, "Oh, look, toilet paper." And so they're running together. I can just picture it in my head. Yeah. Because there was way too much toilet paper running around for just one cat. Yeah. So
it's like the
you need to keep the door shut.
There's a meme on Cheeseburger where there's a cat, there's like shredded paper towel or something, and the cat like supposedly says something like, I don't know if they said something like they had to kill it, or I don't know, something like that. It's like, yeah.
Well, when Tomaluk, so it must not have been Tomaluk. No, when Storm was little. When Storm was little, we lived here in Phoenix, and the cat was so attached to Robert that when Robert would come in the door, he'd say hi, and the cat would run toward him and jump on him, right? So he came in from school one day, and he looked in his bathroom, and the cat had, I don't know, shredded toilet paper or something in the bathroom. There was a big mess. And he goes, "You are the devil!" because the cat was always making kinds of messes like that for him.
I have this funny picture. I posted it, actually, because, during the pandemic, the whole toilet paper thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I walk into our bathroom, and both cats each have, like, toilet paper. They're all in, and I walk in, and they looked at me. They both just looked at me perfectly. So I posted, like, "Boys, there's a pandemic. You cannot be wasting toilet paper like this."
Well, when I lived in Little
Maybe
Rock.
they were trying to hoard it.
Maybe.
With before Puck and Snug, I had two little brothers, Hotspur and Cyrano, and the toilet paper hanger thing in the bathroom. They were always like shredding it and unrolling it and whatever. And like, I remember one time went to visit. We went home for Christmas or something, and Mom had a roll in there of paper towels that she used in the bathroom, and he unrolled the entire roll. I was like, "Oh, Mom's gonna get me! I'm gonna put them up." But so in
But
my
if you put the toilet paper on it upside down, they can't do that. Because
yes, they can.
no.
Yes,
No,
they
they
can
can't.
because they can grab it from it's hanging down below.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
thing
they
and-
don't.
yeah.
They don't.
But
anyway, if they just grab the roll, it
But
won't.
so when I had Hotspur and Cyrano in my first apartment, there was a like a cat, or I don't know if it was just cats or all pets in general, but there was a little shop that had all kinds of gadgets and gizmos, and one of the things they had was this plastic thing you put over the toilet paper, and it had a little slit so you could pull toilet paper out, but it covered it so that if the cat pawed at it, it would just flip around and you couldn't get the toilet paper supposedly being the operative word, because I don't know however it was, but I think it was Cyrano that figured out, I could do it like this, and he it was like totally useless. So yeah, that went by the wayside very quickly.
About Robert's exclamation toward the cat, right?
Mm.
He was very attached to Tomalak, and Tomalak was very attached to him. And then Tomalak died. And Tomalak was an old cat, right? And that was the only cat experience he had ever had. Because he was still quite young, and I already had Tomalak when I got him. And he said, "Mom, I want a kitten." And I said, "I assure you, you do not want a kitten." I said, "You're used to an adult cat. We could adopt an adult cat. There's plenty of adult cats. We could get an adult cat." And he goes, "No, I've never had a kitten. I want a kitten." And I'm like,
Are you sure?
the difference between a kitten and an adult cat is very big. I said, because kittens are constantly doing something. Same thing with puppies, really, but
Toddlers with
but
teeth.
puppies you can train.
Oh, I trained my cats pretty well.
Not in the same way. That's not what I mean. But
Yeah, my cats understand what I'm saying,
Oh, yeah.
but they just don't want to do it.
Yeah, they don't care, but yeah, no, that's true. I say I trained my cats pretty well after he destroyed a whole skein of hand-spun yarn. Yeah.
Yeah.
if they're determined to do something, they're going to do it.
That's true.
Yeah. So
Well, didn't Ogden Nash say the trouble with a kitten is
Yeah.
that
Eventually.
it becomes a cat?
the trouble with cats is that they were once kittens. I loved having him as a kitten. He was adorable. He was cute, and as a cat, he's a great little cat. But I prefer cats.
It's hard.
To kittens.
The adolescent ages are different.
I love kittens at when they're at that age where they're not completely delicate, and they're a little bit bigger, and they romp around a lot, and they just fling themselves everywhere. They just fling, and jump, and fling, and fling,
But they're still too small to really inflict
But they
damage.
just like floop, flop, flip,
Yeah, but
flop.
at that stage, their claws feel like tiny little needles. So one more story. Beth and I were coming home from somewhere, and often, if I'm in town somewhere, I come home on the street above the street where we live, and I turn down very close to our house to get on the street where we live. I'm talking major streets, not little neighborhood streets.
On the street
And
where you live.
So, at that intersection, there is a gigantic shopping center on one side, a smaller shopping center across the street from that. There's a little shopping center, on the third side, and the fourth one has a bank. So you are not supposed to make U-turns at intersections like that. The traffic is too heavy. You're just not supposed to. That doesn't mean people don't, and it doesn't mean there's a no U-turn sign, right? But you're not supposed to. If there's businesses on three corners, you're just not supposed to. And so I was waiting for traffic to clear and for the light to change, you know, that kind of thing, something like that. And I was going to turn right. And I went to turn right, and the car going, okay, so I'm heading this way, and I'm turning right, and there was a car at the light for the left turn. He shouldn't have been anywhere near me, right? No, he decided to make a U-turn. And I was already in my turn, and he just kept going. I'm like, ah! Beth was even more scared than I was, and I was like, I don't have a choice. I have to go because they had the green light, not me, but there was no traffic to my left except way back. And I had to keep going because I was now in the path of traffic coming that way, you know? And I'm like, what are you doing? And it was a close thing. And that intersection, I tell you, it has accidents a lot. But the one thing that I'm always having to slam on my brakes for is there is an out further along where people come out of the shopping center and turn left with no light. And
They're desperate to get across.
They do crazy things to turn left there, and they're always pulling out in front of you, and you know, they go like halfway and then go ahead before they actually should, and you're like
there was someplace that we were going, and I think we were in the left turn lane waiting to go or something. We weren't going yet, so the traffic across was, you know, they're going, and there was a person, you know, that was going to turn left onto the street we were on, but, you know, or the opposite direction. And so here these cars are coming, and this guy started to go anyway, and this truck was coming on, you know, was the first vehicle in this set of, there was 3 vehicles coming. But so he was on the far lane from us, and this person turned in front of him, and they came so close to hitting. It was just like, I was like cringing, thinking any minute now we're going to hear the crunch of metal, because it was a van and a truck, and they just came so close.
if that truck hadn't stepped on its brake.
It was awful.
And I've seen accidents like that. You know, I'm at an intersection, you know, waiting for a green light, and they have a turn, and they just keep going. After the light changes, you know, for their arrow, they just keep going. And then they're surprised when somebody hits them. And I wasn't going because they kept going, but the truck next to me decided, I have a green light, I'm going to go. And it was a big box truck, and he smacked into this car. And I'm like, what an idiot. Both of them.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you have the right of way, but there's traffic in front of you. And so the lady, you know, she was trying to get on the freeway. She pulled off to the side on the on-ramp. Dangerous. And because that intersection, being close to a freeway, and it's on a really, really busy road, is bad. And then I just saw him go through the intersection. I never saw him again.
Nice.
and I pulled into a shopping center right across the street and called the police and said, I just witnessed an accident. I said, one person is on the freeway ramp and the other person is somewhere on baseline.
Wow. Yeah.
And then she said, okay, we'll have somebody call and talk to you if they need you to come back to the scene. Because I told her, I'm not there. It would have been not safe for me to stay there. I wasn't part of the accident. I just witnessed it. And I told them where I was.
Yeah.
And I said, if somebody wants, to talk to me,
yeah.
I will wait here. I was driving Uber, and I had to turn off the Uber thing. And there's actually a thing that says, in the Uber app, that says, I witnessed an accident or I was in an accident, And so finally I get a call back, and the police officer asked me what I saw and, who was at fault. And I said, the woman, her light didn't, her arrow was gone way before because we had a green light. I said, but I didn't go because I could see that several people were running the light. And I said, but the truck who had a green light went ahead and went, but you're not supposed to go if the intersection isn't clear. So they were both idiots, but she was a bigger idiot. And I said, I don't know where the truck is. And he said, well, he did call us. And he didn't say, but I'm thinking eventually, because it was a box truck, a business truck.
Yeah.
And I think he probably called his boss, and his boss says, did you call the police?
Yeah.
Are you still at the scene of the accident?
You dummy.
Yeah.
When I was in college, I had just graduated from college. I was getting ready to go to graduate school. I think I was getting ready to go audition for graduate school. And so my mom wanted to buy me, an outfit to wear for my audition or whatever. And so there were two big malls that were relatively close together. So there was a Coronado Mall and the Windrock Mall, and the street separating them was pretty busy. And there was one area where there were several lights in a row. There was one, like, as you were coming, there was a bridge over the freeway. And so there was a light on the top of the bridge, and then there was a light just past the top of the bridge where people coming off the freeway would stop. And there was, at that time, a gas station and a left turn lane into the gas station, which is where the mall was. And then beyond that, just past the gas station, was another intersection where another street that went around the mall hit, and then, and so forth. So there was like several lights in a row. And so I was in the left turn bay waiting to go like toward the gas station. So I was waiting for an arrow, and
I was in the front seat.
Yeah. And then so there were people stopped on top of the bridge, and then the light where the cars came off the freeway, that light had been green and then turned red while we were sitting there. So then I got a green arrow, and so I started to go, and there was a guy coming off the freeway, and I'm in my brain, I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna stop. He's gonna stop. Surely he's gonna stop. He's not stopping. And I was already going, and if I wanted to be charitable, I could think, okay, maybe he saw the green light beyond me and didn't see the light right in front of him. But whatever the case was, he ran the light and hit my car. And I remember it was the night there was a NCAA basketball tournament. The Final Four, I think, was being held there in Albuquerque. And it was March, and it was windy, and it was cold. And so this guy hit my car, and so he hit the front left fender, and then he
hit the front right fender.
Right fender.
Right in front of me,
yeah.
Right in front of my face. If you had been going any faster, he would have creamed me.
Yeah. And so we were stopped there, and he backed up his truck and leaned out the windows like, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, but what about my car?" Because I couldn't even open the driver's door.
Yeah, because
the front was jammed over. And he's like, "Well, I had a green light. I said, "No, you didn't. I had an arrow. I had a green light." And he took off.
And if he really thought he had a green light, he wouldn't have taken it.
Yeah. So he took off. And fortunately, the people at the gas station...
Wait. Let's back up. Because right when that car hit you, and your mama and your auntie were sitting in the back seat, you said a very bad word. said several.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the funny part.
Yeah, but so I'm sitting there, and I remember I had just replaced that the headlight on that side, and he destroyed it. And but so while we're sitting there, then all the traffic starts moving because the lights start changing and everything. So here come all these cars off of the bridge, but so I'm like, and so I think I climbed out the window or something of
No, you pulled into the gas station.
Oh, I guess I drove
Eventually,
it.
you drove it into the gas station because those guys were like, we saw the whole thing.
Yeah, so the guys at the gas station had seen the whole thing and had already called the police. And then one of the vehicles that was on the road had been at the on top of the bridge at the light, saw the accident, and they followed the truck and got his license number.
And then circled back.
And then came back while we were sitting there talking to the cops. They came back and they said, this is, So, but
I kind of got freaked out by that accident. It was like the first one I guess I'd really been in. Mm. And I remember really, it messed up. I got really
you had put your shoulder there.
Yeah, my muscles were all messed up. And I remember thinking, because I saw that nose of that truck right in front of me, and I kept thinking, if you'd been going any faster, what if, and I remember Dad talking to me like, can't live like that, you just gotta let it go. But I remember feeling really kind of freaked out by that. Yeah. Because it was like one of those near-miss experiences of your life. So today...
You were pretty young, you were still in high school.
Yeah. Today, we went out, so... Newsflash, we're redoing our master bath. Not the whole thing, just the vanity, because we have all this granite. We gotta do something with this granite.
Might as well.
Yeah. So we decided to redo the bath, and guess what? I'm going with blue. Blue cabinetry. Can you believe that? Isn't that weird?
But it'll work with that.
It'll be beautiful. Anyway, so we're very excited about it. But anyway, because I was like, what about blue? So we just kind of went, you're like thinking, natural, so, but anyway, so we were coming back from the showroom this morning, and I'm driving on the 202, just driving along, and all of a sudden I look down, and I'm like, you know how your brain looks at something, and you're thinking, is that really, wait, what? 95, 97, almost to 100. That's how fast I was driving, and I didn't even realize it, and I'm like, oh my god! And then Mark and you are like, it doesn't feel like you were going 100. I'm like, oh no, I didn't notice either. I'm like, well, at least I know my car can go 100 miles an hour. But I was like, oh my gosh, why was I doing that?
You know how your brain tells you something and you're not really understanding what you're seeing?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
like
me
you said, I'm driving down a road called Jefferson in Albuquerque. And that road, it has a median in the middle, but it kind of winds. It's a pretty road. I used to like driving on it. And I'm looking. It was not exactly full dark, but dark. And I'm looking. I'm like, something's wrong with this. There were headlights coming toward me, but since it's windy, it
happens, right?
Right. And I'm like, this doesn't look right. Something's wrong. And something told me to go all the way to the right. Because there was a car in my lane going the other way. And I was like, oh my God.
What happened to me New Year's Eve on a road downtown Jefferson that's one way. Jefferson goes one way and Washington goes the other. What?
The other Jefferson. She was talking about Jefferson and Albuquerque.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, we got one road that goes one way. It's like 4 lanes, and the other, it's just a city street, and there's lights and stuff, but
it's downtown Phoenix.
It's downtown, yeah. So I was driving. It was New Year's Eve. I was coming home from the New Year's Eve concert a couple of years ago. Oops, did I just drop a stitch? No. And yes, I did. And and I'm driving along, and because there's all these little side streets that go between the two one-way streets. And I see this car come down this way, and instead of going the same direction I was, he turned and started coming at me, and I'm like, I would figure.
Unfortunately, wrong-way drivers are a very popular thing.
Yeah, well, fortunately, it was just Jefferson, where we were all just going 45 miles an hour, but You know, so he like figured it out and went back up the next street and like freaked himself out. I'm sure.
I remember when
The freeways are bad.
Tim was talking about when he was hit.
Here are freeways. They're always the wrong way.
When he was hit by he was in an accident.
Driver, yeah.
He was in his pickup truck.
I was at the prom.
He was in his pickup truck, and he was coming from a gig.
With speakers.
And so in the back of his truck he had microphone stands and speakers and
all kinds of he had the whole band stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of equipment in the back of his truck, and he had like
instruments.
It was there was a little camper cap, on the back of his truck, and he had all the stuff in there, and so he's coming along, and he said he was like eating a sandwich or something, and it's in the middle of the night, and he's coming up on this highway, and he said he's looking across the street, and and he sees headlights, and then he sees them like coming kind of toward him, and so he got in the right lane, and they're still coming toward him, so he got on the shoulder, and they're still coming toward him, and before he knows it, this vehicle had hit on the where the door is, on the pillar there, and just like ran all the way down the side of his truck. And he goes, 1 minute I had the sandwich in my mouth, and the next minute my mouth was full of glass.
Yeah.
And I remember he had glass, like little cuts all in his hair and his arm and everything.
Somebody called home for mom for him, and I had just walked in the door, and she was getting off the phone, and she was really upset, and I was like, what happened? She said, your brother was just in an accident over on, she told me the road.
Coming from Algodones.
Yeah. She told me the road, and she said he needs a ride, and because he was refusing to go to the hospital because he had everybody's stuff.
Yeah, he didn't want to leave microphones out in the mesa.
Well, he had like a guitar back there that was destroyed. I don't know what. He had a lot of stuff. He had the whole band stuff. And he didn't want to leave any of it, and Mom had a big vehicle.
The Suburban, yeah.
Yeah, so I drove, and we went out there, and I remember him, he couldn't use one of his arms.
Yeah.
And I remember him lifting everything with one arm to put it in the back, and he was so mad. It was a drunk driver, by the way.
It's amazing he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, he said he didn't have bench seats. It and he just rolled over to the other side of the car.
Yeah.
Truck. Yeah.
My colleague at work was hit by a wrong way driver drunk on like one of the freeways here, because it happens a lot. People enter the freeways the wrong way.
You know what? You know how easy it is to do? I was driving Uber. I was driving, and I needed to enter the freeway, and if it hadn't been for the passenger in the back, he said, you need to go further. And because it was dark and I was unfamiliar with the area, you know what they were separated by? A curb this big.
The one on 3rd Street could do that. That the HOV, the high occupancy vehicle exit and entrance on 3rd Street and the freeway, you could accidentally go down the wrong way easily.
And it was up north somewhere, and the exit and the entrance are on the same side and separated by a curb that big. And it was dark, and there were no lights there, and if that guy hadn't known the area, I would have gone up the wrong side. So I can imagine how a drunk would.
Yeah.
I speaking of curbs in a bad place, one of the appointments we had this week, I had to go to the cardiologist, and this was it's a medical center where I used to go there all the time because my primary care doctor was there. But in the the parking lot and everything, there's one handicapped ramp thing way down here, just like by itself. It's not by any parking spaces. And then
not by handicapped parking spaces.
Yeah. And then there's 2 handicapped spaces that are kind of close to the doctor's offices, where my doctor is, and so there's a little ramp between these 2 handicapped spaces, but the ramp is like a long sidewalk, and it has these curbs on it. So the only place to get on the ramp is on the very end, but it's like it's just badly designed.
No,
I think
it was a little median thing that came out, and they said, let's make this a handicap ramp.
Yeah, and because if you park in the handicap slots, you're hemmed in by the curb on either side. It's not like a wide space like
if you have
for a
somebody
van or
that has
something.
mobility issues,
Well, how do
there
you get
is
a
no
wheelchair?
safe way.
Yeah, you can't get a wheelchair.
Right, and that's why this happened. I'm sitting there stitching.
Yeah, because I was in there in my appointment.
I'm sitting there stitching, and all of a sudden there's a big bang. I thought somebody had backed into me. That's how loud and hard it was. And I jumped out of the car. I threw my stitching down, jumped out of the car, and there was an elderly woman, 90 if she was a day, you know, sitting on the ground,
Oh my
her
God.
purse everywhere. And so obviously she had fallen into the car, right? Her walker was up on that ramp. And the person that drove her was in the car in the handicap spot next to me. So obviously she was trying to go up to the ramp, but she couldn't take her walker because it didn't fit in that little area.
Mm-hmm.
So she thought she had the walker close enough to the end of the ramp for her to hang on to the car and then get back around. And she fell. She fell so hard that I actually looked at the car to see if there was a dent in it. And I am infuriated for this woman.
Yeah,
If it was a regular ramp, she could have taken her walker from the doorway.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was sitting just inside. I had gone to see my doctor upstairs, and then I went downstairs. There's a little right by the entrance. There's a little blood lab, you know, for blood tests. And so I was sitting in front of the door to the lab, waiting for my turn, when I saw this younger woman and this older woman at the door, you know, waiting for it because it's one of those automatic open things. And so they're waiting for the door to come in. And so I saw this old lady, and she was very frail looking, and, you know.
Well, yeah, I asked her,
just,
I said, let me call someone. And they said, no, we have a doctor's appointment. We're just going to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when you saw them.
So they had just come in, and I wasn't in there very long, you know, getting the blood test. And while I was, so then I went out to the car, and as I was getting in the car, they were coming out to get in their vehicle. So I think that
I think her doctor must have said,
her doctor said, you know,
go to the doctor, go to the hospital, and make sure she's okay. Because like I said, she's got to be black and blue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her hip and her shoulder. You know?
Then the asphalt is burning hot.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it was. I think that's the day. One of the days that it was 115. I mean, she had no business even hanging onto a car.
Yeah, it was.
It was hot, hot. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I you know, and I'm like, who do I call? Who do I call and
about
say?
That ramp.
Who do I call at that facility and say, you've got to improve that ridiculous ramp and make more than a medical facility with 2 handicap spots.
I think there are more for the other building down the at the end of the sidewalk, but it's like you have to walk. If you're physically impaired, it's a long walk, you know, to try to get in there, you know. Well, because as it was when we got there, the 2 handicap spaces were taken, and so there are some spaces further down for, like I said, for the other building, and there's a ramp over there. And so I just had Eve, you know, drop me off at that ramp while she went to look for a parking space, because, you know, that I could walk in, you know, but it was further, you know, to walk from that ramp to the doctor's office, and so it was just like not very well done, you know, in that area.
Well, it's a medical complex. So I'm
you
sorry,
would think
you
it would be,
you
know.
need more handicap spots,
Mm-hmm.
and the spaces that aren't handicapped are about this big.
Yeah, that's awful. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate taking her there. I hate going there myself.
Well, you know, my primary care doctor was there, but he passed away a couple of years ago, and so I've been going to a primary care here. But my the cardiologist that was way over there just moved to that building. So now we have to go back to that building.
Oh no.
As a matter of fact, I have an appointment in a few days coming up.
Well,
Yeah, but
I
she
better-
seems to do her stuff faster.
I better go.
Yeah.
I gotta go home and our kitchen's done. We spent all last Saturday and Sunday putting everything away.
Uh-huh.
And then, but we still had, before you guys came over, there was a whole table full of stuff that was like, we don't know what to put this. I mean, we have a lot more room, but there's still like
You got to
Yeah.
decide where you want
it's
everything.
where that great cabinet is, where I have the Super Susans, where I have
Uh-huh.
now my crock pot and we had all of our like shopping bags stuffed in there. You know, the bags you
Yeah.
get in the insulated bag. We had it all just
Uh-huh.
shoved in there. So now we're like, where do we put this?
Yeah, Phoenix, we use a lot of insulated bags so that things
well,
don't
and,
melt.
like lunch bags and things like
Yeah.
that. So, I'm
Yeah.
like, so we had anyway, and then Mark and Eli were pulling everything out of our pantry because we didn't redo the pantry, but now we have to really make it work. So we're gonna. That's what they're doing. I made them leave it half. Well, Mark may have finished pulling everything out, but now we have to reorganize it. So
I
I have
remember
to
when,
get home and get that done.
when I lived in
I
Little
need-
Rock,
I-
I used to come and
I also have
redo
to
your
go.
pantry when I came home for
Yeah,
Christmas.
I used to make you.
Okay, so thank you all for watching.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us again.
And thanks for all the birthday wishes. I
Yes.
appreciated it.
Yes. So it was good to be back with you again, and we will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.